Hello, my name is Cheryl Matzen of Quilt in a Flash, and today I'm going to show you how to cut out the triangle pieces for flying geese very quickly. And these flying geese are paper pieced. I like to use the Simple Foundations translucent vellum paper because you can see through it and it really helps you to position your fabric. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about organizing your project too. When I get all my paper pieces printed, I like to put them all in a Ziploc bag so they're real handy and all together for me. When my triangles are all cut, I like to put those in a little sandwich bag and I mark on them. This says Flying Geese border. I don't know if you can see that on the video, but it helps me to keep things together so when I come back to the project I know what I'm doing. This is the pattern that I'm making today, and it is a quilt I'm making for my brother. Well, as you can see, around the border of this quilt are lots of flying geese. These flying geese with the light dark are the ones up here. These have dark in the center and the light on the outside. So I'm going to cut these the same size as I'm going to cut the dark pieces. You can cut these smaller ones for this area using the 1.5" stencil, as I'll show you, but I like to use the 2" finished. It just makes it easier for me to assemble, but you can use the 1.5. So here's how I cut those out. First I start with the HST 2 by 2" finished half square triangle stencil, excuse me, and I'm going to place this on layers of fabric. Now I have cut 11 squares of fabric because that will give me the 188 that I need for my border flying geese. So I've got 5 pieces of this fabric layered here. This fabric needs to just fit in this area, and I like to line these up. This is of course your fabric grain, and I stack them, and I don't like to stack them too thick, maybe 5 or 6 at max, because it makes it a little easier to cut through. Another thing, you always want to make sure you have a really sharp blade on your rotary cutter because you are cutting through several thicknesses. And I like to use this bigger blade. I think this is a 60 millimeter. So here's how I'm going to do this. Have my fabric stacked, and I'm going to line this stencil up so that it goes along the grain. And I take blue painter's tape, same thing we marked the little sandwich bag, and I'm going to secure this down on only 2 sides. People have tried to put tape on all 4 sides, and what that does is it will cause that stencil to buckle as if you were going to do pins, and so you don't have as accurate triangles. Another tool I like to use is the pounce pad. This has iron off white chalk. Now if you've never used one of these before, this little thing comes out and you put the chalk in there. Below this is a pad and this is the cup. Now to do this, you don't want to pounce this on the stencil. You want to tap this in your hand or on the surface, and it brings the chalk down into this pad. The first time you use it, it'll take a little while to work down through there. So now I'm ready to what I call transfer. So I do like to put my hand on it for a little bit more stability, and I'm just going to rub this over. It doesn't really take much to get that image on there. And as you can see, I'm just gently rubbing that across the fabric. Now I'm going to do it a little bit more because I want to make sure you can see it. I might need a little more chalk. So, again, I wouldn't normally rub it this much, but I can see it very well by my end. Okay. And you'll notice I'm getting out here to this grain border out here because I'm going to be cutting there. So now I'm done with this, and I'm going to peel this off. And there's your image. Now I'm just going to fold these tapes over because I can reuse these next time I want to pounce. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is square it up. So this, I use a ruler, and I'm going to go, I don't know if you can see this, there's points here, and then this broken line. Let me show you the stencil again. There's the points in this broken line. So you're going to line the cutting edge of your ruler up right in the middle of those. So here we go. We're going to line our ruler up on those chalk marks. Got our rotary cutter. You notice I'm using a turntable too. That makes it so much easier to cut these out. So line that up. I don't think I got that one quite right. Let me cut that a little bit more. I didn't have it lined up quite right. One more side. Okay, now we're ready to cut these triangles apart. I always cut the grain direction first before the bias. So to do that now, I'm going to line my ruler up with the edge of my fabric. As you can see, this is lined up. And then I'm going to also make sure it lines up right through those points from that stencil image. So there we are there. And I'm going to cut here. I'm going to move over here. Now I think this is the equivalent of 5 images, and I believe that makes about 90, but I have another one that'll have 6. So when I'm done cutting these 2 stacks of fabric, I should have my 188 pieces. As you can see, I'm going right through the points. Let's get that over there a little bit. Make sure. Take your time with all this. I always tell people to take their time because it's going to save you time later. Line those up. Now I'm ready to cut the bias direction. Now I do always like to start in the center just in case my fabric decides to shift a little bit. So I'm just going to go right down the middle of here. I'm going to come out to this edge, and I'm going to go right down the middle of there. As you can see, this is not taking me very long at all. Turn it and go down these. This is our very last cut. Okay, these are all cut apart, and I've got my perfect triangles. Now I need to cut just this one more stack of 6, and I will have all 188 of those triangles made for the center of this goose right here. Now to organize my stencils, here's another little tip. There's 12 stencils in all, and I went to the craft store, bought me a little scrapbook, and I organize them that way. For me, I put the little tabs I got at the office supply for their finished size. This is the 1 inch, and each one comes with its own set of instructions. This is formatted so that you can 3-hole punch it if you like and put it in a binder, but each one is together in a nice good quality paper stock so that it's good. But I always put those so the pattern shows. And so you can see how I've just put them together. The one we're using is the 2 inch. I'm just going to put this back in here and slip this on my bookcase. I'm ready for next time. And thank you for watching. And you can purchase these and other products at our website at quiltinaflash.com. The phone number's here. If you have any questions, please feel free to call me, and have a lovely quilting day. Thank you for watching.